It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey,
and
Steph.
we're live. Hey, Gary, what's going on?
Not bad. How are you?
I am hanging in there. You know, another week, more news. I'm excited to talk about it. How about you?
I am very excited to talk about it. And I'm ready and queued up and ready to go for you whenever you want me to start covering the stories. How was your week?
It was good. As you know, last weekend, I actually went to a wedding, which is crazy. It was like 30 people, but it was the most people I've been around since COVID. So obviously really thankful for vaccines and allowing that to happen. Because
I just saw the news today about from the CDC where they're allowing people to go outside without masks if you've been vaccinated. I assume you saw that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So what are they saying that like if you're vaccinated, you're so unlikely to spread it that like outside it won't matter?
That's right. They're saying that if you've been vaccinated, you can't carry the virus and spread it to other people. So you might as well remove your mask outside, which, you know, will make me feel less guilty about running outside without a mask because I always kind of felt guilty about that. But
when you're inside, they still recommend that you wear them, right?
Yeah. I think that's based on each state is different regulations. And
I'm seeing a lot of concerts, like a lot of artists are announcing tours now for the fall, which is crazy. And we've talked about this. You wrote about like a few months ago when you thought things would open back up. And it really is looking like by fall, there are going to be concerts and stuff. Because my favorite artist, Machine Gun Kelly, he's doing a tour this fall. It is unfortunate he's coming to North Carolina during InfoComm. So, so I won't be able to see him then, but
October concert then.
Yeah. But I might fly somewhere else to see him, you know, if everything's like
I had no idea that Machine Gun Kelly was your favorite artist. That's,
I love Machine Gun
enlightening
Kelly.
Information on its own right there.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Just no judgment.
His new, like, I didn't used to like him very much, but his most recent album is so good. So everyone, if you're watching, stream Tickets to My Downfall. It's a very good album. Love him. It's got Travis Barker of Blink-182 on drums, and he like helped Machine Gun Kelly write the entire thing. So it's really good.
What about Taylor Swift? Isn't that a big deal right now? The Taylor Swift album.
Yes, because
are you a Taylor Swift fan? Or are you a Swiftite, or what do they call them?
Swiftie. I don't think I'm not like a Swiftie, but I respect her. Like any woman navigating the music industry and taking ownership the way that she has, like, and she's a singer-songwriter. I have respect for anyone who writes their own music. So I think she's a good artist, and I have like a lot of respect for what she does, especially re-recording all her old albums so that she will have ownership over like the masters. So I think that's really cool. So yeah,
I think that's worth. I've read a few articles about that, about how, you know, the person Scooter owns the rights. Braun owns the rights to her music, and he won't sell them back to her. So she's like, the hell with you. I'm going to re-record every song. I recorded the first 6 albums and re-release the albums so that I own the songs. Yeah. So she's doing them her own way, I guess. I mean, more power to her.
Yeah, more power to her. Any like woman navigating a male-dominated industry, I like have mad respect for.
It's amazing that she's doing that. Go for it. Yeah. So hey, what about the stories? We did a big launch and learn yesterday for the Jabra.
Yes.
New announcement from Jabra yesterday. Is the big news up, the new Panacast 50 and 20. The 50 is a speaker bar, as you can see from here. It's a speaker bar type product that has a mic array. I forget, I say 8 microphones in it.
I think,
and a speaker as well. But it has one of their 180-degree cameras, which basically means the Panacast cameras have all so far had 3 cameras inside them, so you can see 180 degrees. But what's cool is that, of course, you have the ability to set it to see 180 degrees, or you can set it to see each person in the room specifically. So as people start talking, it moves around there. It sort of takes a USB camera, a traditional USB camera, and makes it act like a makes it act like a PTZ camera, and that's the first product. The second, this is the look at the. Actually, we're going to bring it back up on the screen in just a second here. The screen share just turned off. Sorry about that.
That's like a little camera that just sits on top of your monitor, right?
Yeah. Here's the 50, and this is the Panacast 50, and here's the Panacast 20. The 20 is like a USB camera that sits on top of your monitor, and it doesn't have the 180 degrees. It's, I think, 90 degrees or 95, 94 degrees, something like that. But both are 4K, and both have their AI technology in them. So one of the neat things about the Panacast 50 is that if you have a whiteboard in the room, you can actually, the camera will actually shoot the whiteboard as a separate input. So you can actually send your whiteboard input and your video simultaneously through like a Zoom call. So you can actually, you get 2 video feeds out of one. It's kind of cool. It's like having 2 cameras that do, so it's like, you know, the Hudley IQ and the Hudley Canvas together in one camera, I guess is the way they're kind of.
That's very neat. And that was very cool of Jabra to premiere those with a Launch and Learn with us.
Yeah,
that was very cool.
We debuted it globally. We were really proud of that. The launch platform debuted it globally. You can see that recording, that global launch of that product line at launch.com, LAVNCH.com. If you're not a member of Launch, you should consider becoming a member of Launch. We got a big event coming up in June. We'll talk to you.
Yeah, let's talk about what we have coming up. So we have a little graphical we made for you that we're going to share.
Oh, yeah. Let's put it up there.
So as you can see on the screen, these are just a few things that we have coming up. So feel free to screenshot that, anyone who's watching, so you don't forget. But we have Launch and Learns coming up. We have Launch Week 4.0 coming up, which is exciting. And then we have
the third of the Epson events. We've done a series of 3 Epson Launch and Learns aimed at the higher education market. The third one of those is coming up May. I don't know. I can't see the dates. It's too small for me to see. Can you see those dates? I can't see those dates.
I can't. But they're
May 11th. There you go. May 11th is the Epson event. Go ahead. I'll let you continue with the other ones.
Yeah. Then we have May 25th through 27th. That is when Launch Week 4.0 is coming. In September, that's when we're going to have Launch EMEA 2.0. We had the first one. I don't even remember when our first Launch EMEA was. Was it like last September? Last September,
September.
Gosh, time flies. Jeez. And we have Bluescape coming up in May. And Sharp NEC, we don't have a date for that one yet, but we will announce it very soon. And you, as always, you can see all of these coming up and get all of the information on launch.com. You do have to register, but it's completely free. And all registering does is just make sure that you get the emails and reminders that these events are coming up. So
in the calendar invites, stuff like that.
Can't say to do it enough because it's fantastic. But yeah, so those are our coming up. Those are our events, the things that we have coming up. Gary,
so what did you think about my story about OLED on the verge of beating up LCD?
So like, I agree, but I think that anything just takes longer to hit the consumer market than it does the professional market. So like, yeah, OLEDs are very, very popular with our like professional readers and stuff, and like you do see a lot of people who have OLEDs in their homes, but at the same time, they're really expensive. So if you don't want to pay like, you know, $1,400 for a really great TV, like you're not going to have that in your house. And I'm not going to pay $1,400 for a TV.
The big news here is that Samsung, whose direct competitor to LG, is going to buy OLEDs from LG. So that's a big news. They're big competitors. Of course, Sony already has OLED. Panasonic has OLED. Where do you think they get them from? So now the big display manufacturers all have OLED, and of course, you know, I think in a way it's almost like LG or Samsung sort of admitting that OLED is a better technology than QLED. I mean, QLED's awesome. I have QLED TV. But the black on OLED is black. I mean, it's pure black. It's amazing. As you said, they're just more expensive than LCD. But I think it's gonna trickle up to our market. What's happening in the consumer market, it's gonna trickle up to our market. So.
And I also think that now that more companies have this technology, I think that that's probably going to make it end up being a little more cheaper and a little easier for the average person to obtain one in a few, like in a year or a few years. So
yeah, the price is definitely going to come down. No question. The price will definitely come down.
So in a few years, people, you could be having that really crisp, clean image and right in your home.
There you go.
Before we continue on, I did want to talk about a tweet I saw over the weekend. And just as we were talking about how Taylor Swift is a woman in a male-dominated industry, you know, a lot of us who work at rAVe are also women in a men-dominated industry. And I just wanted to point out this tweet by Hope Roth, because this has happened to so many women in our industry. Like, she is not alone. Basically what she said, that she's had to work twice as hard or like 10 times as hard to get to like half of where men are in this industry, to be taken half as seriously. And I honestly feel the same way. I've been in a lot of situations, like a couple weeks after I started full-time here, where I went on a trip and had a seat at a dinner with a manufacturer, a higher up at a manufacturer, and he talked to all the men at the table and completely ignored me, and kind of encouraged other people to like talk over me. So I just wanted to bring that up because I'll just say this: our industry is changing. It's becoming more diverse. And if that makes you uncomfortable and if that makes you feel a little weird, then maybe you need to take a step back and think about why that makes you uncomfortable and why that makes you feel a little weird. And do some soul searching there, because I don't think many of us are going to take that anymore. And I don't think that that's going to last very much longer in our industry. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
And I think that the industry has changed quite a bit. I mean, in the time that I've been in the industry and time you've been, even that short time you've been in the industry, if you go back to when you interned with us to now, you've seen an improvement. But you're correct there. That sort of like ingrained historical perspective is still with some people that have been in the industry a long. Look, I think, Hope's, as you know, Hope writes for us. I have a lot of respect for Hope. I have a lot of respect for, I love everyone in our industry, and it's unfortunate something like this happens. It was brought to my light by my own daughter when she was interning with me 6 or 7 years ago for the first time when she was in high school, sort of how granted she was younger, but at the same time, it was constantly pointed out to her. And so it's a little different than what you're talking about, but at the same time, I think what she pointed out at the time was that that doesn't happen to men as much as it does to women.
No.
You're commenting on how much younger you look than the average person in the industry. And I know that I've heard that from a lot of interns over the years. We bring 20 to 30 interns to every show we cover in a big way. So we've heard it for years and years and years. So kudos to Hope. Hopefully Hope and others will start the sea change, will continue the sea change, which I think you could argue started with women in AV, and then the Avixa women in AV groups. And I know that they're very active at this. And Steph, I applaud you for making this a public issue.
Thank you. Yeah. And I just wanted to bring it up because, any type of change starts by just talking about it and acknowledging that it's there. So even if no one cares that I brought it up today, you're still thinking about it. And that's a step in the right direction. So yeah. Okay. Back to the news. Let's talk about how Alexa for Business now works with Zoom Rooms with Poly. That's a mouthful. Alexa for Business now available for Zoom Rooms with Poly. So we talk about integrations all the time, how different brands will work together to make something easier. And that's just exactly what this is. And Gary, you can talk about Alexa for Business because you wrote in Kay's Crystal Ball about how Alexa for Business was going to be a big deal in our industry this year. And I guess it is because we're writing about it.
Well, we are engaged with the AWS team at Alexa on a project that we're working on with them, which you'll soon find out about. And when we started getting engaged with them, we started hearing about the growth of Alexa for Business. And there's going to be a bigger integration of Alexa and other products. Poly's one of the first. But I think that Alexa is going to become the standard voice control platform for our industry. You're going to see dozens of manufacturers over the next 12 months integrated into their products, everyone from projector and monitor manufacturers to even control system companies. It's no longer a security hole in the professional networks like it was before. If you put in an Alexa Echo device in a classroom 2 years ago, you could argue it was a security hole, right?
Yeah.
But now they've plugged those holes. They're getting serious about the corporate and enterprise market. So it's going to become the standard voice control platform, and Poly's jumped on it. And I think that will make it where Logitech will jump on it. That'll make it where Microsoft jumps on it for Teams, and so on and so forth.
For sure. No, I definitely agree with you. And I will be interested to see the K's crystal ball at the beginning of 2022, so we can see how right you were about it.
Yeah, I hope that people, if they haven't checked out that crystal ball, just go to our website at ravepubs.com, type in crystal, spell with a K, Krystal, and you'll find that article. By the way, how do you like my pistachio? Yeah, I'm obsessed. In case you didn't know, I'm obsessed with pistachios.
Are they sponsoring us? Is this a pistachio?
This session is sponsored by pistachios. You know, I feel better about eating pistachios than I do walnuts or almonds. We have someone else here in the company that loves almonds, and I always kind of point out the fact that it takes a gallon of water to grow one almond. A gallon of water for one almond. So as good as those taste, that's a lot of water for one almond. Speaking of water.
And also almond milk kills the bees somehow. I heard that.
Does it?
Yeah, it does something bad to the bee population, although I don't know what, because
we have a former team member here at rAVe that is a bee expert.
He's a beekeeper. Yeah.
He is literally a beekeeper. Knows more about bees than anyone I know. So let's get back to the news. Video conferencing.
All right. Thank you for joining us for Pistachio Corner and Almond Corner. And now we're going back to the news. So one of our bloggers, rAVe columnists, Michael Katz, wrote a really good article on the evolution of video conferencing. As you know, video conferencing has taken over basically the world during COVID. UCC was one of the corners of our industry that really, really thrived during this time when a lot of others were not. So he writes about how it's changed over like the past 10, 20 years. And I think it's just a really interesting article to just have it all listed right there to see really how far we've come. Because he talks about how when telepresence systems came out, everyone thought that was like it. Like there was no way we were going to continue to grow as an industry from there. And we have. So just thought it was a really interesting article and think everyone should read it.
I've lived through this. I mean, I've been in the industry this entire time since this article, talked about 1980s. And I can tell you that, video conferencing is big time now. I mean, it was a huge deal to get video conferencing to work, 10, 15 years ago. And if a company, a client of yours looked at video conferencing 10 years ago, it's totally different. And what's happened with Zoom and Teams and Pexip and WebEx and now Google Meet and even Facebook, it's blows my mind at how easy video conferencing is. By the way, if you're watching us on LinkedIn, say hi. Say hi. We are in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, coming to you live. If you're watching on my LinkedIn feed, this is rAVe TV. If you're watching on rAVe Pubs, say hi. This is Gary K with Steph Beckett. We're coming to you live at ravepubs.com every Wednesday, Steph, noon every Wednesday. We come to you live.
Every Wednesday.
Yeah. So comment. If you're on LinkedIn, say hello. Say hi to us. We're going to say hi back. And if you have any questions, you want to ask Steph a question.
Yeah, we will answer them because we're live. We're just here chatting.
My question for Steph would be, what is your favorite movie of all time?
That's hard. I think, oh God. This is very telling. I feel like you're going to judge me for it, but I think Pulp Fiction is my favorite movie of all time. Just like any dude who says any man who says he's into film says, oh yeah, my favorite movie is Pulp Fiction. But then I'm like, well, my favorite movie is also Pulp Fiction. Like, oh no. But it's a really good movie. It's so good. Like the way the story is, I like the way the story is not told chronologically, how it's like broken up into different people. So really like it. And it's got a lot of like really good quotes. And like, did you ever see that Twitter thread where it said like, okay, everyone reply with a movie that you would recast entirely with Muppets except for one actor. And I said, Pulp Fiction, everyone's a Muppet except for Samuel L. Jackson. I think that would be an amazing film.
Muppets?
Yeah, except for Samuel L. Jackson is the only one who's not a Muppet.
Okay, well, I think everyone knows what my favorite film is. So I don't.
I know it's Star Wars, but I don't know which one. Which one?
Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back all the way. Oh, let's see what people think. Your opinion. Okay. Which is the best Star Wars movie? I say Empire Strikes Back 100%. And then number 2 is episode number 3, Revenge of the Jedi. Somebody is saying something to me about something, but I don't know. Episode
something about
3.
something.
I don't know what they're talking about here.
My favorites are A New Hope and Rogue One. He's not listening to me anymore.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Revenge of the Sith. I said Revenge of the Jedi because that was what Return of the Jedi was going to be called.
Yeah.
But Revenge of the Sith, episode 3 is my second favorite. You say, what did you say? You said Rogue One? Rogue One is awesome.
I said A New Hope and Rogue One are my 2 favorites.
Yeah. Well, of course, I mean, you can't go wrong with episode 4, A New Hope, Rogue One. The last episode of season 2 of Mandalorian might be the best episode of television ever. Monica Mercer, sales account manager at Florida, ProLogic ITS. She's watching on LinkedIn. She agrees that UCC and VC is much easier to use now. Monica, thanks for watching.
We appreciate it.
Today. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And keep the love coming. And if you have ideas for us and things we should do different. But by the way, there's a bunch of sirens outside. Do you hear that? They're like, there's something going on out there. I don't know.
Well, we're next to a fire station, so that could possibly be it. Let's talk about an upcoming trade show, because this is kind of like the first trade show that's going to be back in person. So it's so exciting. You're going to be there? I'm going to fly. I'm getting on an airplane along with 3 of us, 3 others that are going to be in Denver, Colorado next week for the Tech 2021 show in Denver, and we're excited to be as part of PSA and USAV's annual event. They have that show every single year. I recorded a video cast with the team over at USAV a couple weeks ago to talk about the event. But we're going to be there covering the event live. It will be our first live event. You can see all of our coverage at rAVe Pubs. We will be covering that show hybrid and live next week. Steph, you going? I'm not. But I commend you for going, and I will be working it from here.
Yeah, it's the first show. By the way, Scott Tyner agrees with me. Empire Strikes Back. Said he camped out overnight to see. He said he camped out overnight to see. I want to hear some feedback. Tell us what you think. Which is your favorite Star Wars movie, or which is your favorite movie of all time? Which one is it? So.
That's true. All right, let's talk about my case study of the week. I am so fascinated and also terrified of outer space. So I picked this case study from Visionary, talking about how they kind of helped, made a simulator experience at the Krista, I'm going to mispronounce this,
McAuliffe. Yep.
McAuliffe Space Center. So just thought it was super interesting that they did this and thought it looked really cool. And they have like kids from different schools come and like work with this simulation and stuff. So I just thought that was really neat.
Do you know who Krista McAuliffe is? Do you know?
She is the teacher who passed away with the, what was it? The Challenger.
Yeah. Or was it Columbia? I can't remember.
No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. She was the educator and astronaut. Yes.
Yeah. Whichever one blew up in 1986, I think it was. She was the astronaut there. They have a museum there, and they did that, and that's all AV over IP, by the way. Visionary makes AV over IP stuff. They started in the home market. Now they have commercial grade stuff. All 1 gig AV over IP, so it's featured. That's what's featured there. So yeah,
I would love to see it one day. I think that'd be something super cool to just like experience in person.
Yeah, I love everything about space. I want to go to Mars, but I can't. I'm too claustrophobic, so I'd have a problem with that.
No, I could never, ever be in space. I never want to. I couldn't even watch that Gravity movie that came out a few years ago. I almost threw up in the middle of watching it.
That was a great movie in IMAX. What a great movie to see in IMAX.
I couldn't even watch it on my home TV. It was just like too much, too stressful. A lot of Sandra Bullock just like having a panic attack the whole movie. So it made me feel like I needed to have a panic attack the whole movie. So I just turned it off after like 30 minutes. And I was like, you know what? I think I've seen everything I need to see. I appreciate the art of this, but that's enough.
What do you think about, I don't know if you saw the article about that I wrote about the USB extension issues are completely solved now because Extron came out with a fiber version of their product that extends USB. And, you know,
yeah, let's talk about
USB is a big deal because when you put PTZ cameras up in classrooms, you know, to locate them where they need to be located, you're going to have to move them 100, 200, potentially even 300 feet away from where the computer is. And now we're going everything USB with UCC systems like Zoom and Teams. This is a big deal because extending USB has been tough to do.
It has. I've talked a little bit about this with some of the people who have been on Study with Steph with me and about how difficult it is and how, like, a lot of times it just isn't possible to extend it as far as you need it to. So kudos to Extron for coming out with something to solve that problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. This is our last story of the day, but I saw that a lot of people were reading this right now, and this was doing really well and was really popular on our site, but Barracks has a new audio decoder, and it is just basically a modernized version of like their new generation of Extremer products. But
they have network-based audio products. When they first came out with this set of products, they called them audio digital signage products, which is kind of interesting. But if you're using audio in a restaurant or bar situation, or you want to distribute audio across an entire facility, they've got everything for that. And they, as you can see from this is a ruggedized piece of equipment. Barracks doesn't make cheap plastic gear. They make ruggedized gear that can withstand kind of any application, and they are the experts at networking audio in unique ways, especially in signage applications all the way through corporate AV stuff. They've got some really interesting products. If you haven't heard of Barracks, you should check them out. It is a trending story. I mean, this is a hot product category right now. Whenever you're putting something on the network that solves these sort of distribution issues, those are hot category products.
They're also working on a modern API for future release for developers, and they're looking to replace like their earlier Extremer models, like CGI control specifications in the future. So they're working on that update as well. So very interesting.
Barracks, BARIX.
If you want to look for more information on them. And as always, all of these stories are on our site at ravepubs.com. So if you wanted to go read them fully for yourself, because you just saw us kind of skip around and hit the high points, but definitely recommend reading all of them and learning more information that way. So as always, they are on the site ready for you to read them.
Yeah, and we're sorry we didn't get a chance to say hello to everyone out there that joined us live, but we're here every Wednesday at noon. I hope that you enjoyed today's broadcast. Steph, love doing this. We're going to end 2 minutes early today. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Should we just hang out here for 2 minutes and
just 2 minutes, just like being completely quiet and just looking at the camera? Like,
we can meditate. We can meditate.
No, thank you. Well, everybody, this has been the most recent episode of Rave TV. We will see you again next Wednesday at noon EDT. All right. Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's Rave TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.